Hi, and welcome to TTU Unplugged. Today we have our amazing guest, Dr. Ellen Rose. So we're gonna get to know her a little bit more, chat with her about her career, what brought her to Costa Rica, what she does when she's not working. So hi, welcome, Ellen.
Thanks, Sophie. It's great to be here.
Nice, nice. So let's get right into it. So first, I think not a lot of people know what brought you to Costa Rica. What was your experience when you first came here?
Okay, good question. And I guess you have your own experience since you're not from here
Yes,
either. Yeah,
yes.
so we're both two people who have adopted Costa Rica as our home, which is a pretty great place to live. I've lived here July 5th will be, or no, it's actually July 4th, will be 24 years in Costa Rica.
Wow.
Older than most of you watching this podcast for sure. But I came here originally to learn Spanish. And I needed to demonstrate proficiency in a Romance language. So it was Italian. What was it? Why did I choose Spanish? Why didn't I choose Italian? I could have had my
Yeah.
eat, pray, love moment in Italy. But yeah, that's not what I chose. Anyway, I chose to come here. I needed to demonstrate proficiency for my doctorate. And I was getting that in New York. And so I came here for a crash course in Spanish, and I ended up having way too much fun. I probably didn't learn as much Spanish as I should have,
Okay.
but I learned enough to be able to pass the test. And I went back to New York. I took the test, and then I decided that I wanted to come back here and spend more time in Costa Rica because I loved it, especially the people more than anything. Don't you feel like it's the people
Yeah,
here, or
they're
what?
super warm and welcoming. Especially like I've heard other friends of mine who've moved abroad from Venezuela and they don't have the same experience. So I think like we're both very fortunate to have ended up here because people are super welcoming, super warm. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the ticos who make all the difference. There's beautiful beaches everywhere and waterfalls and monkeys and sloths. But yeah, it's the people I think that make the difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, I decided that I wanted to come back for a longer period. So I applied for a Fulbright scholarship and I came for a year. And they were holding my job in New York at Columbia University that whole year. And I went back. And 6 months later, I quit and I decided that I was going to try to move here and I was going to start my own business. So I came back down here as an entrepreneur. I put my doctorate aside and I started a business. And I had that business for 17 years. It's still alive and well. But when I started working at Texas Tech Costa Rica, it was too much for the first year. I was doing both, and it was like overwhelming to keep my business running and to be working on an institution that was opening its doors. So I moved away from my other business and really just dedicated myself 100% to Texas Tech Costa Rica.
Well, we're very glad to have you here. I couldn't have imagined this institution without you. So
Thanks.
thank you for coming down here. So next question. So, do you remember anything funny, unexpected, or even awkward from your first day here?
From my first day, okay, well, wow, I didn't realize when I came down. I lived with a family. I lived with a host family. I was one of those typical people who came here to a Spanish language institute, even though I was an adult. I was in my mid to late 20s. And you guys, I didn't know that there were electric shower heaters. And all of a sudden, I go into the shower and, like, there's water coming out, and there's like this chit chit chit, like this electrical spark that's heating the water, and I freaked out. I was like, electricity and water do not go well together. So here I am, my towel going out to my host mom, asking her why there's electricity. And I barely spoke Spanish. It wasn't good. But she explained to me between
That's normal.
yeah, that's a normal thing, that this is like a mechanism to heat water. And I felt like such a privileged gringa to not know that water just didn't come out automatically from the faucet hot, that there in some places that you had to heat it in that way. So yeah, that was me running out in front of the whole host family in my towel. That was pretty memorable, odd first day experience.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique experience, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question. When you're not working, what helps you unwind?
I love to cook. And I don't only cook, but I read cookbooks. I'm part of a cookbook club where we
Wow.
adopt certain cookbooks and we cook our way through that cookbook. And then we have a dinner where everybody chooses different recipes and we all bring them and we learn from each other. And I also love to cook with my son. He's 11. And so actually last night I was making chocolate chip cookies. And how did I do that without him? He's away at summer camp. And so I'm used to having him. I'm actually his sous chef. He's not mine. So it was a little lonely making the chocolate chip cookies, but we cook like really simple things and really elaborate things, everything from like finding recipes for pad thai and making our also homemade pasta or pesto to doing really simple things like frittatas or just, grilled chicken. We love cooking everything. So that is my favorite way to relax. And it's also all of my friends and family, of course, really enjoy that. That's my passion outside. I'll tell you a secret. And that is that when I applied for my doctorate, I really wanted to go to culinary school. And I thought culinary school is too hard for me. So I think I'll get my doctorate instead. So I like never followed my dream with that. I'm still a frustrated, wannabe chef. So, and, but I did my academic work and I do my cooking as a sideline. It could have been the opposite.
Okay, I'm super curious now. I didn't know that about you. What would you say is your favorite dish to cook?
My favorite. I really love baking. I really, really do. I mean, I like making savory food. I do, and I can make like, let's say my favorite, and this encompasses everything. My favorite meal of the year to cook is Thanksgiving. And I'm one of
I
those
love it.
people that anybody who has been to my Thanksgiving, which we usually have at the beach with all of our friends who live out there, it's a bunch of expats from really around the world, not just Americans. And I don't let anybody bring anything because I'm like a super control freak. So like that's everything from like cooking the turkey and making my cornbread stuffing to even like homemade mac and cheese with delicious panko crust on top,
Wow.
to making the pies, to making my own cranberry sauce. Like super control freak. So that's like the sweet and the savory, the appetizers, the desserts,
Everything.
everything from
That sounds like a
start to
lot of
finish.
work, but I bet it's worth it.
I love it. And I start cooking days in advance and I'm freezing and I'm cooking stuff here and taking it out to the beach. It's like a whole production. But that
Yeah, because
just
you cook it here and then you bring it out to the beach, right?
half and half. I
Wow.
do some of it here and then some of it
Wow.
there.
Sounds
Like
amazing.
at
I'll
the
have to try it
moment.
one day.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Well, also one of our traditions at Texas Tech Costa Rica is there is a faculty, staff, and administration
Yeah, I was at last year,
potluck.
so it was super good. I
Exactly. So
loved it.
that like we always have to raise the bar each year. Every year gets better, and it's pretty amazing,
I'm
isn't it?
excited for this year's. I would say Thanksgiving is my favorite like food, like holiday food.
Yeah, because it's
It's
so
amazing.
yummy.
10
Yeah,
out of 10.
totally,
But before we get sidetracked with the
totally.
food talk.
I could talk about food for
Same, same.
days.
So next question. Looking back, what's something you've done personally or professionally that you're really proud of?
Um, I lived in Africa twice with my husband. He works in international development work, and one of the things that I helped launch was a program for brilliant inner city children who lived in Maputo, Mozambique, which is the capital. And we taught them English, then we taught them life skills, prepared them for the TOEFL and the SAT, and then helped them all apply for college and get scholarships. And 17 of them went abroad and got full scholarships to study in places around the world. And now many of them have masters and they're living all over. And that was a program largely through the MasterCard Foundation that gave funding to most of these 17 students. And it's still probably the most gratifying professional experience I've ever had. I don't think there could be anything that could top that
Wow.
because you're not just changing people's lives, you're changing communities. You're changing families and communities, which is what I believe education is really, truly about.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that about you. That's really cool.
Hopefully, there are more things to be revealed, Sophie.
Yes, yes. Let's keep going with the questions. Let's learn more about you. So, Ellen, what would you say is your leadership style and what motivates you day to day?
Okay, that is a good question. I guess I'm the kind of leader that is used to trying to resolve really hairy and hard problems. And so I just keep pushing through it. If I stop and look at how difficult it is, I can't do it. But I have to start looking at it piece by piece and moving ahead. A colleague of mine once said to me, how do you eat an elephant? Elephant's too big to eat, but you eat it one bite at a time. So that's how I look at things. And you have to also know that you're not the one who resolves it. It's your team and everyone around you. So you have to work together to do things. And I try to really maintain that collaborative leadership style and push, 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 but together and in little bits so we can get the job done.
Okay, so last question. This is super important. So think long and hard about your answer.
Okay.
If you had a theme song to your life, what would it be?
That is important. I would say it's Titanium because
By David Guetta?
by David
Who would have
Guetta.
thought?
Because I can get knocked down, but I'll get right back up again. I'm unbreakable and I'm tough. And yeah, whenever I hear that song, it totally motivates me and I feel I completely identify with it.
Great. Well, that's nice to hear. Well, and I think our time is up, but thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, it was super fun. And yeah, I look forward to seeing other podcasts and who else will be your guests.
Who do you
And
think would be a good guest in our podcast?
recently, at an event, I met the head of Sony Music for the region. She's young and she's cool, and she has a team that is in Colombia and Costa Rica and Miami. And I think that her perspective on what it's like to work in that industry would be awesome and really fun for our viewers.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for coming to TTU Unplugged.